Hey guys, so today we're going to go ahead and learn about how merge sort works. So this is I guess you would consider it a more advanced sorting algorithm, and it's really good for breaking down large amounts of data because it breaks them down into smaller sets of data that is easier to work with. So let me go ahead and show you pretty much how merge sort works conceptually. So the way merge sort works is you break down the array into halves until ultimately you have only one item in your array. And so what happens is, again, we take advantage of the fact that in an array of just one item, like 3, if this is the only item in the array, then the array is considered sorted, right? This is the smallest item in the array. So it takes advantage of the fact that you have a bunch of sorted arrays, even though they're just one item elements. And then what happens is when you merge them together, that's when you keep them in order. So in order to do this, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and break it down in half. So we look at the length of the array. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So then our midpoint is going to be before our fourth element, right? So 8 divided by 2 is 4. So 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to go ahead and break it down and split it into two separate arrays. So now we have 1, 7, 5, sorry, let me redo the 7, and 6. And then we also have another array, 3, 2, 4, and 9. And so then what's going to happen is we're going to continue to split the array. And when you do the code for this, you're going to see it takes advantage of recursion. If you're not familiar with that concept, I will get to it in a later episode or a later video. But for now, just know that it takes advantage of recursion, meaning we're just going to apply something over and over and over again. So in this case, we're going to keep splitting over and over until there's only one item in it. So again, look at this array and what is the length of it? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. So then right before the second element, or the number 2 array element, we're going to go ahead and split it there. So 0, 1, 2, and we split here. And then I'm also just going to go ahead and do it over here as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4 divided by 2 is 2. This is the 0 index, this is 1 index, this is the 2 index, which means we split right here. And so now we have 4 different arrays. We have the 1 and the 7. Then we also have the 5 and the 6. And then we also have the 3 and the 2. And then we also have the 4 and the 9. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and split again. So 1 and 2, these have 2 elements each. So we're going to split 2 divided by 2 is 1. So right before the 1 element, or the 1 index element, we're going to split it. So 0 and 1, so we split it here. And again, that's going to be applied for every single one of these since they all have 2. So we're going to split each one into individual elements. So we have an array of 1, an array of 7, an array of 5, an array of 6, an array of 3, an array of 2, an array of 4, and an array of 9. Okay, and so what's going to happen is we're going to go ahead and start merging these together. And so the way that this works is we're going to simply combine these 2 elements here. So basically, it's kind of the reverse order in which they were joined. So for instance, 1 and 7, they were paired up here, which means we're going to combine the 1 and 7. And as you can see, the 1, 7, 5, and 6 are here. So when we get down here, we're going to be merging both the 1, 7, 5, and 6 again. But the way this works is we're going to go ahead and create a new array. And in this new array, we're going to go ahead and compare the first element of this array with the first element of this array. And we put them in order according to whichever is smallest. So for instance, comparing the 1 and the 7, which is smallest? Well, it's going to be the 1, right? So we put the 1, and then there's nothing else for us to compare to, which means we just go ahead and put the 7 in, the remaining items left in the array. So let's go ahead and compare the 5 and the 6. Well, the 5 is already smaller, right? So we're going to go ahead and just insert the 5. And then there's nothing else to compare to, so we're going to go ahead and put all the elements remaining in this array. So in that case, it's just the 6. So now let's go ahead and do the same thing with the 3 and the 2. So what we have here is we have a 3 and a 2. The 2 is obviously smaller than the 3. So we go ahead and push this to a new array. So 2. And then, of course, there's nothing else to compare to. So we're going to go ahead and push the 3 as well. And then the same thing would happen with the 4 and the 9. The 4 is smaller than the 9. And then there's nothing else to compare to in this array. So we're going to go ahead and push the remaining items, which is just the 9. Alrighty, so now we're going to go ahead and continue to merge, right? So now let's go ahead and come over here, and we're going to merge these two together to a new array. Now, again, we're going to do the same thing. Let's compare the first items of each array. The 1 is smaller than the 5, so the 1 comes here, and then we're going to cross it out. And now we're going to be comparing the 7 with the 5. And in this case, the 5 is smaller. So we're going to go ahead and plug in the 5 and cross that out. And now we're going to compare the 6 and the 7. And in this case, the 6 is smaller. So we're going to go ahead and push that here. And there's nothing else for the 7 to compare to. So anything that's remaining in this array is going to go ahead and get pushed to this. So that's there. Now let's look at the 2, 3, 4, and 9 array. So let's combine these two. And let's go ahead and compare the first item here with the first item in this array. So in this case, the 2 is definitely smaller than the 4. So the 2 is going to be moved over here. And then we're going to be comparing the 3 and the 4. Well, the 3 is definitely smaller than 4. So we're going to go ahead and push 3 into this new array. And now there's nothing else for the 4 to compare to. So we're just going to go ahead and push all the remaining items of this array into this new array. So 4 and then 9. And you want to keep them in order as well. Okay. And then lastly, we're going to get to this big array down here. And it's going to be the combination of these two pieces here. Okay. So let's go ahead and just compare. So in this case, we're going to start off comparing the first elements, and we're going to move forward. So let's compare the 1 and the 2. Well, the 1 is definitely smaller. And then we compare now the 2 and the 5. The 2 is smaller, so we're going to move this over here. And then we're comparing the 3 and the 5. Well, the 3 is definitely smaller. And then we're going to be comparing the 4 and the 5. In this case, the 4 is smaller. And then we're going to compare the 5 and the 9. Well, 5 is smaller this time, so we're going to move it off over here. And then we're going to be comparing the 6 and the 9. And the 6 is definitely smaller. And now we're comparing the 7 and the 9. In this case, the 7 is smaller. And now there's nothing left in this array to compare to, so we're going to push the remaining items. In this case, it's just the 9. And there you go. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. Again, this is merge sort. And that's how merge sort is done. So basically what you want to do, just to recap, let me move back over here. So starting at the top, what you're going to do is you're going to break down the element in the middle, and you're going to continuously keep doing that until all the elements are just one item arrays. And then you're going to start putting them together in the order in which you're going to start inserting them into a new array in an ordered set. So you compare the first item of each element, and then you place it into a new array until ultimately you combine every array and get your final sorted array, and that is merge sort.